Katt Williams just revealed how Ellen DeGeneres is supposedly taking Epstein's role and bringing underage individuals to elites. Ellen's sudden decision to leave her show, followed by the passing of some of her closest friends, wasn't simply an unfortunate coincidence. Ellen was preparing to step into a new role. Once you look at all the signs, everything that Ellen did begins to make sense.
So tell me about your birthday party. Am I invited?
Yes. Yes, you're definitely invited. I invite you to all my parties. You just haven't seemed to show up.
Nick Bryant, the investigative journalist who first released Epstein's Black Book in 2015, claims he was informed that a successor still exists within elite circles. He said he was told there was a Jeffrey Epstein replacement. At any given time, there are different groups of children that are protected. Bryant has been investigating elite networks for over a decade and was even mentioned in Epstein's own emails as someone causing issues. Removing Epstein from the equation doesn't mean the elites he worked for disappeared. Those elites simply shifted to a new supplier. The fact that hundreds of people who were connected to Epstein were also connected to Diddy wasn't a coincidence. Both Diddy and Epstein were serving the same clients. Now with both Diddy and Epstein gone, the person stepping in to take their place is allegedly Ellen.
I'm curious, who do you think, I don't know what if you have an answer for this, but I'm curious, who do you think is the next Jeffrey Epstein?
Okay, so I was told that there was a Jeffrey Epstein understudy. And I don't know, I don't know if that source was correct or not. But at any given time, there are various Jeffrey Epsteins that are protected. I mean, I know that because I'm a lightning rod for that type of stuff. People contact me all the time. And Jeffrey Epstein and Franklin aren't the only networks that have come around in the last 30 years. I mean, they're at any given time, there are various networks that work that are protected.
Now, where can people look? What should people be wary of? How would someone identify this individual or this web of individuals?
Well, with Epstein, he was identified in 1996. Maria Farmer went to the FBI in 1996 and said that he had child pornography. And so that was the first time that we know of where Epstein could have been stopped.
Right. And then still operated for 10 years.
Here's the thing. Diddy and Epstein came from two completely different worlds. Diddy was a media mogul and Epstein was a financier. There was no link between them, right? According to Katt Williams, Diddy and Epstein had only one thing in common. They were both responsible for finding more victims.
Everybody is a supplier. Epstein, Weinstein, like these guys knew what these extremists liked and provided it, and provided the way for you to to have $1 billion and not create a fantasy island type environment has not existed throughout history.
Right. I mean, if I was going to run some global power organization, I would try to co-opt every single leader, try to suck them in, offer support, bring them out to wherever the f I have my meetings, fly everybody in private jets, talk about the climate crisis.
All organizations have to follow the same rules.
Yeah, that's wild.
Recruitment is an important facet of all.
We have to get some young global leaders.
Well, understand, this is the only reason that we can talk about these big Illuminati-like entities at this period of time. It's just because of time. Like, they aged out. Like, you can't get in new, so everybody got decrepit over there, and they can't exchange, really.
Emails from the Epstein files along with court documents from the prosecutors in the Ghislaine Maxwell case show that Epstein allegedly made deals with 25 different celebrities to bring them over to his side. Some critics of Ellen DeGeneres claim she was one of these celebrities, and the fact that she ended her show and disappeared from the spotlight just as Maxwell's deposition began, that's a pretty major red flag for them.
According to a newly filed court document, Ghislaine Maxwell, the former associate of Jeffrey Epstein, she was convicted of trafficking minors, sentenced to 20 years in prison. She claims that 25 men, maybe friends, associates of the deceased financier, have been protected under secret settlements, secret deals, and that this information was not revealed to her during her trial. This is on top of what she claims are 4 other individuals, alleged co-conspirators, who were never charged. Obviously, I have thoughts. Is she telling the truth, particularly given her past, in light of what she's trying to do now? If this is true, number one, wow. And who are these people? What is a secret settlement? Can we ever find out? Can the public ever find out? So I'm made of questions. I'm bringing on an expert right now to tackle all of them.
These critics also point to the timing of Ellen DeGeneres ending her show. Ellen announced that she was stepping away from The Ellen Show and showbiz as a whole in 2022. This announcement was made just weeks after Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's closest partner, was sentenced to 20 years in prison. Allegedly, Ellen was concerned that Ghislaine might expose her connection to Epstein and chose to step away.
DeGeneres and her wife, Portia de Rossi, have reportedly fled the US, bound for the UK, after Donald Trump's landslide victory. Numerous publications are reporting the couple have left the United States permanently. There are also reports the couple have put their Montecito mansion on the market. Entertainment publication The Wrap has the exclusive story and said Ellen DeGeneres and wife Portia de Rossi have moved to rural England, put their Montecito estate on the market, and plan to never return to the United States, telling friends the election of Donald Trump was their primary motivation. Ellen DeGeneres has been a vocal Trump critic, so the move doesn't come as a surprise to most.
They're losing their minds.
She sounded so sincere, didn't she?
Very
she could
sincere.
Virtually choke on her words. But the best one for me is Ellen DeGeneres, who is, by the way, a very nasty person. I've had dealings with her in Australia.
Bit of
Could I tell you some stories about that cow? But anyway, good riddance to her. But she was quite friendly with that P. Diddy bloke, wasn't she?
Well, this is why I say release the Diddy files.
Yeah.
Release the Diddy files. Come on, Donald Trump. We want to know whose name.
So maybe she's hightailing out of there before all that is thrown at her as well. But what a bunch of hypocrites.
The fact that Ellen DeGeneres chose to move to the UK is also interesting once you realize how many individuals in the British royal family were linked with Jeffrey Epstein. Prince Andrew and Peter Mandelson, both very close to King Charles III, were close associates with Epstein. The most concerning part of Ellen's move to the UK has to be all the incidents she's left behind. 4 months after The Ellen Show ended, Stephen Twitch Boss, Ellen's co-producer for 8 years, tragically took his own life. In a letter to his wife, Twitch even mentioned that he was carrying a very heavy burden from his time on The Ellen Show.
Learning more tonight about the tragic of Stephen Twitch Boss and the detailed steps he took to hide his plans. TMZ is reporting when Twitch left his home the day before he took an Uber to a motel about a mile away. At the motel, he switched his phone to airplane mode so no one could reach him. The motel manager says he checked in under his own name and never left his room. We also now know that Twitch left a suicide note. Details have not been made public, but TMZ reports the note alluded to challenges Twitch had faced in the past. Entertainer Tyler Perry knows firsthand what that is like.
I want to take you back to a time in my life where I tried to commit suicide a couple of times because it was so dark. I thought the only way to make this better, this pain go away, is to end my life. Had any of those attempts happened, I would have missed the best part of my life.
2 months later, Ellen's ex-girlfriend also ended up passing away under unclear circumstances. Everyone who could have exposed Ellen DeGeneres was suddenly either gone or silent. Allegedly, Ellen was preparing to take over Jeffrey Epstein's role, and she wanted to remove anyone who could stand in her way.
In May 2002, the Ellen DeGeneres show was canceled, and then 2 months later, Anne Hesh, Ellen's ex-girlfriend, was in a really bad car accident where she flew her Mini Cooper into someone's house and it caught fire. And what has never sat right with me is the cross comparison between the coroner's report and the actual aerial footage. The coroner's report says that she was unconscious until her death, after just from smoke inhalation and from being brain dead from the fumes in her brain. But if you look at the footage, she sits straight up, and that takes a conscious effort, I feel, but I'm not a scientist. I mean, I'm not a doctor. But the other thing is her other host, her co-host Twitch, died 4 months after that. And I just think that that's a suspicious amount of like close people around you dying in weird ways. But I don't know. Anyways, this is my driver. And I went to the Ellen Show once and she gave me Magic Mike Live tickets. Anyways.
You might be thinking it's simply a coincidence that all of this began happening after Ghislaine Maxwell's sentencing, but according to Katt Williams, none of this is a coincidence. Everything that happens in Hollywood happens for a reason, and the fact that Emmy Award winner Anne Heche and Stephen Twitch, boss, both died around the same time is proof that their deaths weren't random.
In order for the type of ratings we need and attention to be on this thing. See, what I'm saying is, in business, nothing is coincidental, or you would be hearing who's losing money. In all of these situations, it's only the artist that's losing. Somebody makes big money. When these rappers get not incidental. Somebody made $100 million and now don't have to talk to that artist or none of their crew, don't have to validate none of their contracts. Now only got to deal with the mama, only got to see her once a year, and it's over. And the money goes up and up and up. So they keep this $20 million guy, but they reap $60 million in benefits.
Wow.
And they had some people from your city do it.
Wow.
I'm saying there's the good side and the bad side of these businesses, and
but think about what you just think about what you just said.
Supporters of these theories have also pointed to how Ellen DeGeneres was trying to normalize and discussing human stem cells right around the time that Jeffrey Epstein was being tried. As more and more Epstein files are released, fans are looking back at Ellen's show and noticing disturbing similarities between what Ellen was joking about and what Epstein was reportedly doing on his island. For example, court documents show that Epstein was allegedly involved in harvesting stem cells from aborted fetuses and children. Reports point to genetics, reproduction, and long-term legacy ideas, with billionaire Peter Nygaard also tied into the discussion. Now look at what Ellen was promoting on her show.
Talk about this facial that you're obsessed with. That how many did you get the whole cast of Ocean's 8 to do
Not
this?
everybody.
Okay, and, good, smart ones.
Just those that I thought would appreciate it.
Okay, explain what it is.
Well, it's this way in which one forces through microneedling. It's like a little roller with these, some of you, I think many of you know it, and it pushes through the skin and ruptures the collagen and then boosts it. You look like a burn victim for a day, but then it pushes the
What
serum.
are you pushing into the skin, Sandra?
Sarah?
Perry? What are you pushing into the skin?
Well, you push in whatever the facialist would like to insert into your pores.
But what is it?
It is an extraction from a piece of skin that came from a young person far, far away, and they somehow figured out how to extract.
It's foreskin from a Korean baby.
Chris Hansen also investigated these claims when he was looking into Jeffrey Epstein and arrived at the same conclusion as others. There was much more than just usual crimes happening on Epstein's island. Dozens of emails released by the DOJ show that Epstein was interested in using genetic engineering to extract cells from children and clone them. These cells would then be sent as a form of treatment to his friends with the promise that they would help them stay young.
He's a billionaire freakazoid.
Yes.
And part of his deal, he's in prison in jail up in Canada, waiting, charges all over the globe. But his deal was that he would allegedly impregnate young women in the Bahamas, where he had a huge home, and then have them get abortions and harvest their stem cells of the fetuses to inject in himself as the fountain of youth. And we get into this in that documentary. And was Epstein involved in that sort of activity? I don't know.
That's where, and again, we just have to look at what we have and know what we don't yet.
Yeah.
But it's a question.
Yeah,
when you
it's
look at the
it's
context
a legitimate
of the jerky
question.
stuff.
Yeah, and when you look at what other billionaire guys have done.
There are even reports that Ellen DeGeneres has been mentioned for her alleged ties to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We know that even back with Jeffrey Epstein, the FBI refused to take any action against him, and it was only after intense public pressure that an investigation was opened into him. Maria Farmer, one of Epstein's most vocal victims, first reported him to the FBI in 1996, but this investigation was shut down and Maria was asked to leave. You can't help but wonder who was leading this investigation and why they refused.
Went to the FBI. It was 1996, and she was the very first victim to officially report Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell to the authorities. But in a pattern that would be set in the decades ahead, her complaint was ignored.
They just kept it all quiet, put it in the bottom drawer. And they were so dismissive that I just felt daunted and I stopped.
But by going to police, Maria felt the full force of Maxwell's fury. Terrified, Maria went into hiding and gave up her art career. What sort of threats has she made against you?
Originally, it started with things like, I'm going to burn your art. And then I'm going to burn your career. And then I'm going to burn you and the house you live in. And then it was, oh, be careful crossing a street. You know, you can get shot in the back of the head. You know, they were threats against my life. And I told the FBI this.
Folks who follow these theories have even started pointing out strange coincidences, like how the set of Ellen DeGeneres' show looks very similar to a structure found on Jeffrey Epstein's private island. There's also been a lot of discussion about the crown and skeleton symbols from Jean Mitchell Basquiat's art, which both Jay-Z and Ellen have reportedly been seen wearing recently. Some investigators think these symbols are a reference to elite occult connections. There are even claims that these specific images match disturbing files found on Epstein's laptop that allegedly connect high-profile politicians to ritualistic.
Will be their downfall. Or is it just art? And let me be the first to tell you, it's all connected. I mean, if you know, you know. But first, let's go back to that video of Ellen DeGeneres. When the camera turns, you can see the inside of her house. Now, see that picture right there? Well, if you pause it and look it up, it says evil thoughts with revenge right next to it. Here's another picture of Ellen in her house, and this is the picture behind her. Now, the thing I'm curious about is the letters on top of the picture. These look oddly similar to the letters Marina Abramovich writes out when she does spirit cooking. Remember the beginning of the video? It's all connected. And that person that was in all red is Lady Gaga, and she went to Marina Abramovich many times for teaching. But let's continue. This is another picture of Ellen in her home. She's cutting her mother's hair, but what is that picture above her head?
Number 2.
Nice. We could have done this here.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, but I was like, you know what? That's a good way to die. They're not going to let me buy that place. Look at it.
Oh, well, you know where that is too, right? The similar image to that, right?
No.
I know Jamie does.
What is it?
It's on the set of a famous talk show that's now not on anymore.
Oh, Ellen? Was that Ellen?
Yeah.
Really?
Just look at the temple and then look at the...
Let me see Ellen's background. What?
Epstein's laptop wasn't the only thing linking him to elites. Recently, Epstein's former cellmate came forward and said that Epstein wrote about his successor in a side note. A New York Times report says a note was allegedly found by Epstein's former cellmate in July 2019 and has remained confidential in a sealed court file for years. ABC News reports the note is supposedly tied to Nicholas Tartaglioni's case and that prosecutors have said they do not know of any Epstein note, even though a DOJ disclosure reference.
Side note, allegedly written by Jeffrey Epstein, has been kept locked up in a New York courthouse for nearly 7 years. That's according to new reporting from the New York Times. The report alleges Epstein's cellmate found the note in July 2019 when the convicted offender was found unresponsive in his cell with cloth around his neck. Epstein survived that incident and accused his cellmate, Nicholas Tartaglioni, of Records show a week after that accusation, Epstein told officials he had no issues with Tartaglioni and felt safe with him. Epstein was found dead weeks later in what was ruled a... The Times reports Tartaglioni recalled the note saying, "Time to say goodbye." The note was left out of any investigation into Epstein's death due to being sealed as part of the cellmate's own criminal case. It was not mentioned in the official investigations into Epstein's death. The Justice Department tells the New York Times the agency has not seen the note. The New York Times is petitioning a federal judge to unseal it.
Makes sense that the person stepping into Jeffrey Epstein's place would come from the entertainment industry. Seeing how some of the biggest celebrities in Hollywood were connected to Epstein, and this reputation is what helped him attract more girls. These girls would allegedly see well-known celebrities like Ellen DeGeneres, Oprah Winfrey, and Naomi Campbell being mentioned and be convinced that everything happening to them was normal.
But, I mean, here's a woman who was eager to get into modeling, met somebody who was with the president, the former president of the United States. I mean, how much more safe can you get? Secret Service agents there. At dinner, Kevin Spacey's there, a Hollywood movie star. You know, of course she thinks that it's going to be okay. She certainly didn't bargain for what happened to her in New Mexico.
And she doesn't have any recollection.
She has theories. We did this interview for Have a Seat with Chris Hansen, and it's, and I knew her story. I had been prepped for the interview, but things kept coming out of it where I was learning things on the fly from her. I mean, it's amazing. And this guy was, not prosecuted or investigated by local authorities there. I mean, he threw money around like it was nobody's business.
It's also so strange, Chris, that to this, like, they're only now apparent, and it's very hazy what's going on. They're only now apparently going to look at exhuming some of the ground around Zorro Ranch, or actually going in there. It's a whole
that's where this took place.
Even Katt was surprised by what these celebrities were willing to do to recruit more supporters within the industry. Harvey Weinstein, for example, told Katt Williams that he controlled many major female celebrities, and in exchange for his support, he could gain access to any celebrity he wanted. Katt continues to expose these elites despite the risks to his life, and it's only a matter of time before the elites running the industry come after him. Whistleblowers like Katt Williams are being silenced. Katt said that the elites are starting to catch up to him, and it's only a matter of time before they come for him too.
Infiltrate the Illuminati, find out what the they got going on, get the information, run back to y'all, tell y'all everything I know. That's my motherfucking job. But I don't know how many more times I'm gonna be able to sneak in there. Thanks to Shannon Sharp and 90 million views, I can't sneak very often. So while I was in there this last time, knowing that my last report might be my last report, I went in there and I got information for everybody. Look at my white friends. Us too? That's right, white secrets. Okay, so because of the climate and the temperature of, God damn it, shoelaces.
Just to give you an idea of how much information is being withheld from us, there are emails released by the DOJ where Jeffrey Epstein is clearly discussing victims with other elites. However, none of the files identify these individuals. In fact, hundreds of thousands of files are completely redacted, so the people responsible won't be exposed.
Question: which one do you prefer, lewd and lascivious conduct or procuring protection? I suppose lewd and lascivious conduct. I would prefer lewd and lascivious conduct with a prostitute if possible. That exchange between Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell on May 23, 2008 is part of some 18,000 emails from Epstein's personal Yahoo account obtained by Bloomberg News. The emails, which suggest the inbox was most active between 2005 and 2008, include messages spanning 2002 to 2022. Epstein died in 2019, and emails received after that are largely spam or marketing offers. Overall, the emails offer a raw look into the disgraced financier and defender's world. While this inbox wasn't the only one he used, the newly uncovered emails do suggest how central Maxwell was to his life, something that contradicts her telling of events. She's characterized herself as a former girlfriend and property manager for Epstein, not someone with eyes into his vast influence machine or thinking operation. She's currently serving a 20-year sentence for conspiring with Epstein. Maxwell was central to curating Epstein's inner circle, according to these emails. In some emails, she's organizing visits with the likes of Sergey Brin and his then-girlfriend Anne Wojcicki. Sergey and Anne arrive tomorrow at Guam.
Not even Ghislaine Maxwell believes the government's narrative, and if anyone would know what was really happening behind closed doors, it would be the woman who stood next to Jeffrey Epstein for years. So when even Ghislaine starts questioning the official story, people are naturally going to wonder what else is being hidden. Because this entire case has been built on missing names, sealed documents, redacted files, protected elites, and people suddenly going silent the moment the questions get too close to power. If Katt Williams is right, then Ellen DeGeneres might not be the only person people should be looking at. She might just be one piece of a much bigger system. But what do you think? Is Ellen really hiding something, or are people going too far with these theories? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Also, make sure to like this video and subscribe because more Epstein files, Hollywood connections, and celebrity names are still coming out, and we're going to be covering every single update. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next.